You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Early Thursday, Tom Pelissero of NFL Media tweeted that former LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels is scheduled to have dinner tonight with Vikings brass in Baton Rouge. He notes that Minnesota owns the number 11 and 23 picks, and they've been gathering all of the info in case there's an opportunity to move up for one of the top quarterbacks. That is noteworthy for a couple of reasons, mostly because Wednesday was actually the last opportunity for NFL teams to host prospects. So, we talked about top 30 visits, how teams could bring 30 prospects to their facilities and pay for everything. You could fly them in, work them out, host them, dine, whatever, all that stuff. Well, that ended Wednesday, but there's no rule that says a team can't go visit a prospect at their hometown, their college campus, and go out with them. So the fact that Minnesota is flying their brass down to Baton Rouge to take Jayden Daniels out to dinner tonight tells you they are serious in case the opportunity presents for them to draft Jayden Daniels. And especially considering what we just heard. Can you play Elliott Wolf again, please? This was the Patriots general manager with his pre-draft press conference talking about the possibility of the Patriots moving out of the number 3 pick.
Yeah, so ongoing. We're open to anything, moving up, moving down. We're open for business in the first round and in every round.
Okay, that's it. That's all I need. We're open for business, moving up, moving down. So point being, let's say Jayden wows Minnesota. And if Caleb goes 1 and Drake May goes 2, what if Minnesota says, we're going to go up to 3 to take Jayden? We're not going to let New England take Jayden and then wait to see if we can take J.J. McCarthy at 5, right? I mean, that's something that is inherently possible if the GM of the Patriots saying we're open for business. Anyway, so I thought about this today because we've largely had the conversation centered around the Bears taking Caleb Williams 1, and then what's going to happen to Jayden? Does he go 2 to Washington or 3 to New England, or what else might be a possibility out there? So I looked at those 4 spots because it's hard to imagine Jayden Daniels ending up anywhere else, either 1 to Chicago, 2 or 3 to Washington, New England, or Minnesota trading up. I guess weird things can happen in the draft. Maybe the Giants move up and take him. It could happen, but realistically, when you look at the draft odds and destinations for Jayden Daniels, it looks like it'll probably be most likely one of those 4 spots. So I said, let's look at each of those 4 and sort of weigh the pros and the cons, find out what would be the best landing spot. So hit me with a little music bed if you would, Muse. And we'll start it off at the top.
The Chicago Bears.
So I look at the Bears' history, especially of drafting quarterbacks. They drafted Mitchell Trubisky and flopped. They drafted Justin Fields and flopped. Matt Eberflus is on the hot seat. So if a quarterback goes number 1 overall and plays this year, which whoever they draft is going to play, you're very likely going to have a bad season and a new head coach next year. The Bears last year were 18th in the NFL in scoring offense. Yes, they have DJ Moore, and yes, they went in the offseason and added another free agent wide receiver. So they're trying to stack the deck a bit, I guess, for whoever the quarterback is that's going to come in. But realistically, if all you're looking at is DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who's the receiver that they brought in, I don't know that that's a great spot year 1 for a rookie quarterback, meaning year 2, you're probably looking at a reset with a new head coach.
The Washington Commanders.
So Washington, as we know, has the 2nd overall pick. And their history with drafting quarterbacks has been very hit or miss. Just for instance, the last time they took a quarterback number 1 was Dwayne Haskins back in 2019. Before that, and that was 15th overall. Before that, it was RG3 in 2012, 2nd overall. Prior to that, you got to go all the way back to Jason Campbell in 05, Patrick Ramsey in 02, and that was 32nd overall. And before that, Heath Schuler back in 1994. So that's 5 first-round quarterbacks since 94. Haskins, RG3, Jason Campbell, Patrick Ramsey, Heath Schuler. They haven't shown a great commitment to quarterback in the first round. What's more, I think the coach situation in Washington is better than Chicago. You hire Dan Quinn, who's been a successful head coach, and certainly has been a great defensive coordinator. You've got a guy that is going to, because he's a first-year head coach, you're going to have a degree of stability. And if you missed it, Washington hired Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. And I know you can roll your eyes about Kingsbury, but his offenses weren't the problem. And when he was the head coach in Arizona, they went from 5-10-1 to 8-8 to 11-6, and then 4-13, and he got fired. But a lot of that centered around the fact that Kyler Murray got hurt, tore his ACL. But Cliff Kingsbury, as an offensive mind in the NFL, had success. Now, Washington last year was 25th in the NFL in scoring, and they don't have a lot of weapons. Curtis Samuel's off to Buffalo. You do return Terry McLaurin. You got Jahan Dotson there, and they're likely going to be in the mix to draft more offensive weapons. But Washington, in my view, is a better destination, if nothing else, because of the head coach, offensive coordinator situation, than Chicago.
The New England Patriots.
Got another first-year head coach in Gerard Mayo. Remember, Mac Jones is gone. He's in Jacksonville now. Alex Van Pelt is the OC in New England. And in the last 4 years, Van Pelt has been the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach there in Cleveland. However, Stefanski was the play caller, so even though Van Pelt's been the OC and quarterbacks coach in Cleveland in the last 4 years, he wasn't calling plays. But again, entering his 29th NFL season, he's been an offensive coordinator in plenty of different places. So you have a veteran, experienced coordinator and play caller in New England to pair with a first-year head coach who is defensive-minded, who is very likely just going to leave the offensive coordinator alone and let him be the OC and the head coach of the offense. The tricky part about New England is they averaged 13.8 points per game last year. Dead last in the NFL. And you've got no weapons. I mean, they relied heavily on Ezekiel Elliott a year ago in New England. So with no weapons, a new head coach, new OC, New England is not a spot where you could imagine to have any degree of success initially. That would be a brutal scenario for any rookie quarterback walking into in 2024.
The Minnesota Vikings.
And we throw the Vikings in there because the Vikings are in town. They're taking Jayden Daniels out to dinner tonight, and everyone is mocking the Vikings to trade up for a quarterback. However, most have the Vikings trading up, potentially to 4 with Arizona, to take J.J. McCarthy. But what if they go up to 3 or 2 because they covet Jayden Daniels? To me, this is by a mile, by a country mile, the best situation for a rookie quarterback. You got Kevin O'Connell as your head coach, who is a successful offensive mind off of the McVay-Shanahan tree, right? The Vikings were 7-10 this past year, mostly because of the Kirk Cousins injury. They played Josh Dobbs off the street at quarterback. A year before, the Vikings were 13-4. They come back, Cousins gets injured, and they go 7-10 and miss the playoffs. But you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got Jordan Addison, you've got TJ Hawkinson, you've got Madison. You have a ton of offensive weapons, a successful head coach, a roster that is built to and ready to win. All you're missing is a competent quarterback. And if Jayden Daniels stepped in immediately, he wouldn't have to be Superman like he would have to be at other places. I understand everybody wants to go 1 overall. And with every spot, when you looked at draft slot value that you bump down in the draft, you lose money. But if you're Jayden Daniels and there's the possibility of Minnesota moving up to take you at 2 or 3 or 4, that would be a dream scenario. There might be more money at number 1 or number 2, but a giant payday in the top 5 and the opportunity to go to a franchise with weapons that's ready to win is a dramatically better scenario. If I'm an LSU fan, if I'm Jayden Daniels, I'm on bended knee hoping it's Minnesota that takes the LSU quarterback next Thursday. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.